Hi everybody, welcome back to our datadice videos. Thomas, Alex, and Ricardo.
Hi guys.
Hello.
And today we're going to continue talking a bit about Data Studio and some of the elements that we need to complete to paint the full picture of how Data Studio is until now.
Best practices.
Best practices, exactly. And we're just missing the filters.
Yes. So we talked about every chart, or at least most important charts for us, and tables, most important tables. Now we continue with filters. So should I start?
What's your favorite filter?
Okay. I think most of the time we use the normal Dropdown filter. That is, and maybe the date range filter. So, but that is, I think, a common thing. And,
Different topic.
Yeah, and also
we're gonna make
topic.
a video only for the table.
40 minutes straight.
Yeah. So drop-down filters. So because most of the time you are filtering for different dimensional values. So for example, I don't know, when you have some revenue per country, then you want to select for some countries or for different shops or whatever. And then you can, I think, as best with drop-down filters.
But then also within the drop-down you have a few options, no? That you can get to customize.
Mhm.
For example, like single select, multi-select.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think within yourself you can select some ranges that you want to display. So, but that needs to be pre-aggregated on that part. Like for example, I mean, it makes sense to have a drop-down if you have 15 options. But then if you have 2,000 options, I think actually there's a upper limit on 500, 5,000.
Yeah, that could be. But then you can also use the search for searching the stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think most important thing is to sort them in a good way, right? That you say, okay, how many, in terms of products, how many products do I have? How many sales? How many revenue? That the most important options are on top.
yeah, that's really cool that you
Right.
can put a metric also adding to the filter. And then, for example, for, I don't know, as I said, for products, for example, if you have a product filter, then you can put a metric inside for sales, for example. And then you say, okay, for the sorting, give me the first or the most sold products at the top and then descending order. So that's quite good.
And you can choose to select the metric in case you want to know, like to show it there
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you can use any metric you like,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. And when we talk about filters and drop-down filters, and you have too many options, then the question is, how do you prepare the data? Do you make ranges, or do you group data in the right way that you don't end up with 1 million options in the drop-down filter? I'm not quite sure if there's a limit of definitely showing, yes, but if you search for them, do you have a limit? This we could basically find out.
I'm not sure, to be honest. Could,
But
yes, I think so. Yeah. I
Yeah.
had it one time, and there was not every product, for example, inside the filter.
I think it's quite high.
Yeah.
Something around 20, 50,000, I don't know.
Mhm.
We can basically put it in the video.
Yeah.
and maybe this we can connect then to one of our other videos that we do of the missing features. Something that I would like to see is that, for example, when you have a chart, a pie chart or whatever, and then you're grouping elements for other, I would like to be able to see that on a filter, no? Like, for example, you're showing sales per country, and you're operating mostly in the European Union. And then everything would be nice if by default in Data Studio you could be like, yeah, group everything that is below X amount or below whatever percentage, put it in the others category.
Mhm.
And then you can just click it. I mean, we can do it because we can set it before, but it feels like such an intuitive element that would be nice to
Yeah,
to
that's
have.
right. Yeah.
Now you need to prepare everything yourself at the moment. It's like a little bit. What's important when we talk about the drop-down filters is, I think, the select button, right? This check mark.
Mhm.
So you have, first of all, two options. You can, at the beginning, everything is selected by default. And after a while, maybe you would like to see only one particular value. So what you can do is hover over that particular value and go for only show me exact that value. But sometimes you would like to have multiple elements outside of that filter. So what you can do is, first of all, you deselect everything by this check mark at the very top, which is not connected to any value. Then you search for wildcard search for one value, like for example shoes, and it will show you all the basically matches inside your drop-down filter, and then you mass select all of them again. And with that operation, you only basically selected the shoes you were searching for. And this is quite a good approach to
Yeah,
do.
Data Studio is good in handling that, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe for, as you said, mass select or all select and just single select. I also think about when you can use single select, because for sure, as Thomas said, you can also just do single select when you don't have the option. But single select made sense with one of my first dashboards, which was this brand dashboard. So, for example, when I went to a detail page of the brand, for example, when I also show then the picture of the brand and so on, and for sure you can put a filter inside to select for the brand, but there then you mess up your data when you show two brands at one time. And then you say, okay, you can just select one filter or one brand, that makes then sense, but else, yeah. So there are circumstances when you can use or should use single select, but most of the time
The
multi-select.
same, the same applies for product detail, basically
Exactly, yeah.
reports. When you have one basically dashboard page or one report page for products and or for one particular product, and you also show basically the product picture there and maybe some information about the product name or like the category and so on. So if you have a multi-select there and you can select more than one entry, then the whole basically report doesn't make sense anymore, because you cannot show a clear picture, you cannot show a clear name, you cannot show a clear ID or a specified ID, and then single select makes total sense.
What else for other filters? So there are a lot of other filters. So for example, this range filter for numbers.
Yes.
That I use not really often. I think you use it sometimes.
I think that one is one of the features or elements of Data Studio that feels more limited, I have to say, because there are so many parts of like that could be adjusted in small ways that would make it actually usable and that I could see use cases to put it. But as it is at the moment, it's just super rare. I don't know, like if you have a range of prices or a revenue range that goes hopefully to many digits because you have a lot of sales, then it's super tough. No, you need to put like the filter all the way here to like be able to control. It's nice that you can put.
But are you
upper-
talking about those like range
Slider.
filter? You can slider.
Yeah,
okay.
slider, but I mean, the nice that they do allow you to put two, upper and lower
Limit.
The limits.
yeah. But again, I would like to put stops on it. Like I for example, I don't want to grow like unit by like digit by digit. Sometimes I would like to go like break it every 100th or every 1,000, and then I can move around on it, and that would be more easier to manage.
And it's not dynamical, huh? So what I would expect from a filter like that is when I basically search for one category of products, if I have product overview, something like that, and then I have this kind of slider that if I search for accessories, and they are normally in a price range of 10 cent to, I don't know, 50 euro, and I also have other products which are more than 1,000 euro, I would like to have that basically slider dynamical. Is that the case?
Yeah.
I
So
don't- I
that
don't-
was.
I don't know. I think you can select to put like auto, or you can put like fixed limits and something.
Okay. So auto is then the min and the max of the metric.
Exactly.
But is it then that if I pre-filter with another filter for something, that the auto value is then basically also shrinking?
I think so.
Or is it the whole set of the whole data, which is
But should
connected
be,
to
I think, but not sure,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I think it is, but we can show it. I think for me the logical way would be to have an option to select either how it is now to show like point by point how it goes, or to shift it like percentile or something. I would like to be able to like click a select, and instead of if you move from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the move from 1% to 2% or 1% to 10%, and then I can select like I want to see the top 10% values, and I can just move like one slider, or I want to see exactly what my more average customers are buying, and I move the 2 sliders to the part to like, I don't know, 40 and 60%. Doesn't sound that tough, but would be nice to have.
Yeah.
For our feature video.
Feature request.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we have tick boxes, also just for Boolean values. Yeah, I think also not often used, but at least it's good. I also don't like the handling of it, but I also not sure because you have to, because when is 2 selected, when is 4 selected, when is both selected, and so on. Not sure about what is the handling behind it, but that was not really good in terms of what I realized. What was my experience.
Maybe we don't have the right use case for that in e-commerce, in SaaS reporting. That this is different then. Where it could make sense is if you have certain analytical dashboard for finance, something where you say, okay, including, excluding something, where you can simply like just use the checkboxes for that at the top, for example. That would work. I think that's a good use case.
And also, it doesn't matter what you have as default template. When you put a filter, it has drop shadows.
Yeah, that's
and that's it's so confusing. At least that you can tell if someone has adjusted your dashboard that they don't know exactly how it works, because suddenly there's a new filter with like drop shadow, but that's weird. I don't know why it happens, but it's always showing.
And is it also still the case that if you basically create a new filter, the shadow is there, but the checkmark is not filled? The checkbox
As
is not
far
filled?
as I know, they fixed it one time,
Okay.
but it is again there. So again, it is the case you said, but I'm pretty sure that they fixed it for some times.
Crazy.
But we also
I normally only copy paste. That's why I have no idea if it's still.
So it
the
is
case,
again
but-
the case that bug. So, but I'm pretty sure that they fixed it for some days, weeks, months. I don't know.
But in general, just to go like to some, best practices that I would suggest for filters. Like if you're building dashboards that are being used by multiple teams and then you're making multiple dashboards, always put the filters on the same part of the dashboard. I know that sounds very basic, but creativity is great. But when you're building like 10 different stuff, it's nice when as a user, you can like, okay, I know that the filters are always here and it makes sense. And they look exactly the same always. They have the same shape. They have everything. We go for the drop-down filter, most of the cases, sorted with a search option on them, with multi-select, with specific use cases when it's single select. But besides that, I think that's like or what else would you say for
first
filtering?
of all, you have to think about, okay, what is the best place where to put the filter, right? Is it on top? Is it in the sidebar? It depends really on how you basically also design your dashboard itself. Do you have more this like 16:9 very broad dashboard? You have the space on the side, or do you need a very wide dashboard and maybe it makes sense to put it on top? It depends a little bit. So for us, we always do it in the sidebar. Why? Because we normally have different elements, we have tables, and we would like to have the whole height of the page. That's super important to us. Because if you put your logo on top, if you would like to make your dashboard a little bit nicer, you put your logo in the header part, you put filters in the header part, you lose immediately 20 to 30% of the whole height. And this is a big issue, because people have to scroll, and that's not good user experience. That's why we put it in the sidebar. But could be for different, if you, for example, have a very big time series for your analysis, it could be that width is more important than height for you, right? So that depends on your use case. But definitely think about where you should put the filter, or in which part of the page you would like to put the filter, and stay in that basically range. One other way would be if you basically put the filter for one particular table or chart, right? And you group that. And you have this grouping functionality. We can talk about that we can talk about that as well in detail. But if you group one filter to one basically table or chart, then make sure that the user understands that this filter is connected only
Yeah.
to that table, right? And you can do that if you have a tile, if you have a gray background, you have a white tile where the table is inside, where the filter is where the chart is inside, and you have the filter on top, then you see immediately, okay, this filter is kind of bound or grouped
Yeah.
to that particular.
Yeah, most on the left side at the top we have the topic of the table of the chart, and then on the right side at the top we have then the filter for the grouping.
But that needs to be super clear. I see people using the dashboards, and that's one of the first things that they get wrong. No, like they see filters in two places, and then first of all is this conflict, like why are there both, and then it's like why if I click this one it does, and I try to use them only when absolutely needed, and like you said, like having this tile that puts them in separate color background and really have a visual sign that is grouped with this, and like you said also like as far away from the other filters as possible. And
you also said one very interesting thing. Who is using the dashboard, right? And we said it already in another video. If you are if you have a clear audience and you know who's basically looking at those dashboards, then you can do that. If you know, okay, they understood how this is basically grouped, how this is how they need to use the dashboards, then it's fine. If you do it for kind of new audience or new group of people who have no idea how the dashboards need to be basically used, then either explain that or don't do it.
additional points.
Yeah, maybe
Cross-filter.
Date range
there's-
filter, we have to talk about.
Yeah, date range filter, not sure. So also there's one other chart type, filter type, maybe quickly to say, is the normal search filter and also the advanced search filter. So due to that you have also in the dropdown the search function, I think at least the normal search filter is not so important. I'm not sure if it also is contains or if it is equal the normal filter. I think it's equal. But the advanced search filter, there you can do something like, okay, is it equal to the text input you gave, or is it contains? I think also regex is possible. That is, for example, good if you know your SKUs for products, your product names. So if you're just searching for t-shirts, then you can quickly just search for t-shirts, and then it's getting filtered for that. If you have a drop down, then you don't select every t-shirt. So then
But also there you need to have the analyst who understands basically also regex then and so on.
Yeah,
otherwise,
it's more
it's quite
advanced
critical.
thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Should we make a quick pause now? I would then go for mentioning, before going into the date filters, I think we can go a bit deeper, just to mention the cross-filtering, that maybe Alex, you can go for it.
Yeah, so now Data Studio also released a new version or another approach for that. So cross-filtering is, for example, you have a pie chart with different values, for example, for every country, the share of the revenue or whatever. And then you just click, for example, on the DE pie, so for Germany, for example, and then you select your whole report or your whole page at least for all of the DE values. And then also in the pie chart, the other values gets a little bit of a shade, and the DE or the German pie gets more or gets a bigger contrast, you could say. So and then you get also quickly visualize that. And Data Studio now changed it that the cross filtering is always enabled by default.
Yeah.
At least for all of the new reports, I think, or at least also when you're adding new charts to the reports.
The marketing data sources are excluded from that, right?
Yes, some connectors are excluded. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think maybe, I don't know, due to querying or I don't know, performance.
Performance issues,
But most of the connectors and so on are inside.
I think also maybe also cost reasons, because the moment you click on DE something and all your Google Analytics numbers will basically be requeried, it could be kind of cost intense.
But I think it's nice that it's as a default. I think it's one of the parts that really lets you play around with the dashboard more. I think we always say like the dashboard is not just that it looks nice, it's something that then allows you to move around the data and see what you're getting out of it. And often when I was presenting the dashboards, this possibility of cross-filtering by just clicking on elements of the dashboard was the part that really made people like, okay, I'm getting it now. I see why the dashboard makes sense, and you try to take me away from my Excel spreadsheet. And yeah, but let's...
Yeah, so I don't know, we have the date range filter, but that's also a bigger topic. And we have also report and page filters. We can also do a second part for that. I don't know. Or if we have also more topics for that. Also filters outside of the report and so also outside of the page.
Okay, we can then do advanced filtering as a separate video. Okay,
but we need to talk about date range filters.
In the advanced filtering. Is like
it's the hook.
It's the hook. Yeah,
date range.
Because there's a lot of things to do for the filtering. No, I think we have some tips there.
However we call it, but a part 2 of filtering, I think would make sense.
Yeah, advanced all caps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then Alex.
So sorry for that. I would have put it in this.
Okay. Tell us your
Ricardo's decision.
No, tell us the best things about.
Put in the comments. Blame Ricardo. If you're super interested about date range filtering.
No, it's going to be in the next video.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Need to wait for 1 week.
Of course. Alex.
Yes.
If someone needs to be entertained for this week while the next video drops out, what should they do?
So you can check out our media blog posts. So this, it's already then published. Our new features, Data Studio, BigQuery, Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics blog post. We also started within the series of Y42 blog posts. So one of the partners who have an all-in-one ETL platform, data ingestion platform, whatever. So some also new stuff in the blog post section. Subscribe to our channel. LinkedIn, we also post now every week 1 or 2 posts, team posts, and also technical stuff.
How Ricardo plays the art, basically.
Yeah, so really important stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then.
Yeah.
Parting words.
For me.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for watching the video.
And have a great week. See you. Bye.
Bye.